folks. Welcome. So I want to start off with a reminder of the vision of Toastmasters. Not as well known as the mission, but the vision, Toastmasters International empowers people to achieve their full potential and realize their dreams. Through our members clubs, people throughout the world can improve their communication and leadership skills and find the courage to change. And that's the key word. We're changing things. Pathways is a change. But Pathways is an example of Toastmasters' ability to help us change in our own lives. And Toastmasters supports us through this change. And so I'm excited to have you here today to work through all of these different changes and answer questions. So the agenda for today, you'll have 15 minutes. We'll have a presentation answering questions that you submitted through the registration process. That'll be a delivery. At the end of that, then there will be a quick break, quick transition, and the people in live here in this room would be able to move to the in-person, one-on-one, hands-on training if you so desire. If you want to be there now, you're not so interested in the pre-planned questions, which will be recorded and sent out to you, you can go over to the hands-on training right now and start working with your ambassador. There will be 8 people in there assisting, supporting, answering questions. At the time that we make the transition, we would then come back, or at the transition that people go in there, this room will turn into a back and forth Q&A. The virtual audience will submit questions to our moderators. Sorry, you'll submit questions to the Everyone chat, and they will be answered either via the chat or the moderators who are answering your questions will point out that Trish can answer that question, and we'll present that to the room. People that stay in this room will be able to continue the conversation back and forth and answering questions as a typical Q&A. Are there any questions at this point of the plan? So if you are interested in going to that hands-on training right now and you don't need that presentation, let's head into that right now. Make that transition. And if you have your cell phones on, please turn those off so that we don't get those going off during the presentation. And at this point, I'm excited to introduce our presenter, our Pathways Chair for the District 3 Toastmasters. She knows a lot. She's very helpful. She's answered questions to me through Pathways at Toastmasters. I'm excited to introduce DTM Trish Blackwelder.
Thanks, John, for the introduction, and welcome to all of our virtual attendees. This is so much fun, but don't think I'm ignoring you because I'm looking at a camera every now and then. I'm just looking at other attendees. All right. I want to welcome you to this event, and I want to thank John again and his team for all the work that has gone in putting this together. The online registration to get everybody recorded. I want to thank all of you as attendees for submitting the questions in advance. It certainly gives us a chance to level set on what kinds of things we need to be prepared for to answer. What I want to do is start off by answering some of those questions that were sent in advance. 2 of them, which I consider pretty significant. The question was, what is the benefit of Pathways? Okay? Anybody want to take a stab at this? Because I'm sure my answer is nothing like what you're expecting. Sure.
A faster reward system, so you're able to get rewarded along the way faster?
That is true. You will earn recognition faster in the Pathways program than you do in the traditional program. Okay? Yes?
It's an individualized curriculum to allow you to take on a path that is best for you.
It's an obviously more personalized experience. Anybody that was ever mentored by me in this organization knows I was very crafty at individualizing the traditional program for people. But Pathways makes it obvious by identifying specific skills. All right, let me cover a couple of other things. I want to level set everybody right off the top. First off, your benefits in Pathways are exactly the same as your benefits currently are in Toastmasters, and the benefits that have been established from the beginning. The promise was that Toastmasters would help people learn how to talk how to conduct meetings, how to plan programs, and how to work on committees. And none of that is changing because of Pathways. So the benefits that have always been promised by the organization will continue to be fulfilled. Now, we've accomplished that already for 94 years, and we did it for years without manuals. Then we had manuals. Then we had only communication manuals. Then we had leadership and communication manuals. And now we have Pathways. Toastmasters has been evolving for 94 years, and Pathways is just another step in that evolvement. But the core things that we count on in terms of delivery from the Toastmasters educational program are there, have always been there, and will continue to be there as we move forward into Pathways. So I just want to assure everyone of those things. But let me point out some things that I don't hear people think about too much. In terms, how many of you were in when we did the dues increase? How many of you were thrilled about that? Yeah, I didn't think so. There was a lot of, I don't like this dues increase. I don't know why we have to keep raising the price of our membership. Oh, but if we don't move to Pathways, costs will continue to go up. Pathways is a huge cost saving. It's environmentally responsible to use online training over paper manuals. We can't keep killing trees over and over again, or we run out of natural resources. It's also more flexible, and the response time for content management in Pathways will be much faster than we've ever known by having paper manuals. The other day I got a question from a member about a path I didn't have loaded yet. That wasn't one of my choices when I chose my paths. And I needed to know about the content in that path in order to answer their question. For $20 and 20 minutes of my time, I had the content at my fingertips. I could never do that with a manual. If somebody asked me about a manual I didn't have, I would have had to order it online. I would have had to wait for them to ship it. I would have had to wait to have time to go through it and find what I was looking for. I was able to do all of that and get my question answered about 10 minutes after I had the content available to me. That kind of response time we can't see in any other environment than an online environment and digital delivery. Okay? Another reason, the increased efficiencies that we'll have around supporting content translations. Write the content, dispatch it, translate it into a variety of languages, and again, push of a button, it's delivered globally. Just awesome that we have that capability now. And the big one, and I hadn't heard this one before, this was new for me even this week. I was listening to a presentation from our CEO of Toastmasters International, Dan Rex, and he shared a tidbit that I had not heard before in all the Pathways training I've undergone. When they originally looked at how they were going to evolve the educational program, they looked at the content and found fewer than 25% of our core learning elements were incorporated in the traditional program. Amazing, isn't it? I know, I'm looking at some faces. Amazing, because you would have thought that we were well balanced and well standardized. We were not in the traditional program. So one of the top priorities in rewriting the material was ensuring that those core elements of our learning program that have made us successful for 94 years were well embedded into Pathways. We're getting the strongest, most standardized, most stable content that we have ever had in 94 years, thanks to Pathways. Okay? So some benefits that most people don't talk about, plus all the ones that other people were already pointing out. Another question that came in advance was, can you explain the overall structure of the Pathways program? Yes. Well, as I mentioned, one purpose of the rewrite was to ensure that those core learning elements were much more interwoven into the material. But I can also explain this. The standard-driven foundation is introduced via pathways. All the educational programs, Successful Club Series, Success Leadership, Success Communication, Speechcraft Youth Leadership, all the rest, are going to undergo that same standardization. That's going to take a little more time. We'll see those evolve. But when it comes specifically to the learning path, you need to think in terms of 5s. There are 5 levels. This is consistent across all 10 paths. Each of these levels increases in complexity as you move through the content. Level 1 starts out by mastering fundamentals. And the 3 projects that are included in level 1 should be very familiar to pretty much every Toastmasters member. There's an icebreaker speech. Do we all know what an icebreaker speech is? Okay, nothing new to learn. It's the same. The research your topic speech. Remember that one from the Competent Communicator Manual? Okay, same. Might have a little different name, but it's pretty much the same project. And then there's evaluation and feedback. This is new for Pathways. A member is going to write and deliver a speech. They're going to receive an evaluation for it. They're going to be asked to incorporate the feedback that they received for giving that speech, and then give the speech again, demonstrating that they listened and they were able to refine and improve the speech. That we have never focused on in the traditional program. We have never asked anyone by a manual project to give a speech, rework it, and give it again. And isn't that really what we do? Whether we go pro or we just improve our communication and leadership skills, it all comes from practice, applying feedback, and refining and delivering again in an improved state. So we're introducing that now to a new member right from the get-go.
Trish, can you speak up a little bit so your laptop audio is their only audio remotely?
I got 2 mics to work with today too, so this is going to be really interesting for me. All right, so that is something new that we have not had before, and that is something that mentors and people orienting new members want to make sure that they call to the forefront when people are preparing those. You do have the option to give a speech, then write an entirely new one. But in my opinion, with my years of experience, the best exercise will be to rewrite that first speech that you gave and make it better. Learn that skill or start learning that skill right from the get-go. Okay, so any more questions around level 1?
So we do that in every path in the level 1?
All level 1s across all 10 paths are exactly the same.
When the audience asks a question, it's been asked that you repeat it.
Yes, repeat how far back?
Just audience question.
Oh, repeat the audience. Thank you for clarifying. The question was, are the level 1 projects the same across all 10 paths? And the answer is yes. When I coach vice presidents of education now, that's a big thing I like to point out, because once you learn how to coach level 1, you have learned how to coach level 1 for every member, regardless of the path that they choose. If you want more tips on coaching level 1, we have a handout in the other room that you can pick up. We also have QR codes if you want to work with digital versions of any of our handouts. Those QR codes are also in the other room. And for those of you who are in the online environment, if you can find a way to get yourself on the list, or if are we going to do a follow-up email?
Yes.
Okay, I've just got it confirmed that we're going to do a follow-up email, so I'll make sure that we include the links to those 3 sources that we have QR codes for today.
So I have a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an icebreaker speech across all levels. And we are going to repeat the same speech? Or is it going to be a different speech that we are going to...
Okay, I'm going to reinterpret your question. Let me make sure I'm understanding it. If I have multiple paths that I'm going to work, do I do the same icebreaker speech for every project?
Not
Or
the
for
same probably, but according to the project. But what I mean to say is that repeating project, that we are going to work on improving and we are going to do the same speech, right? So is it the icebreaker speech or do we have multiple speeches?
No, okay, I'm sorry, the question was, for the evaluation and feedback project, is the first speech that you're going to give your icebreaker speech? It is not. It is a different speech from the icebreaker speech. Okay? All right. Moving on from level 1 to level 2, now you're going to start getting into learning your style. Depending on the path that you choose, you may be challenged to learn your communication style, or you may be challenged to learn your leadership style. Okay? So you will have some personalized content then, depending on the path that you have chosen. And once you go through that content and take your test, you'll have results. Then you take the results and you prepare a speech about how you feel about those results. You're not telling everybody how you took the test or what was part of the test. You're going to write a speech about how you feel about how the results came out. Okay? All right. Then you will also have an introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. The content for that is going to tell you more about mentoring and what mentoring means in Toastmasters. But the speech that you're going to give is about your personal mentoring experience, whatever one you'd like to relate to everybody. You can talk about a mentor from Toastmasters, a mentor from your professional or personal life. It's just for you to give a speech about how you felt and how you worked with a mentor. Okay? And then the third project that you'll have will be based on the path that you choose. For some, it's active listening, which is where you'll need to be a topics master to complete that project. But that will be specific based on the path that you have chosen. Okay? Any questions about level 2? Anything from the virtual group? Are y'all still awake out there? Okay. All right, level 3 then. Let's move on. Level 3 is increasing knowledge. This will definitely include electives. The more blown out electives choices become available to members in level 3. So you will need to do whatever the base project is for that level, plus you'll choose 2 electives. So you now have your first real introduction of complete personalization. You'll have a project that's personalized for your path, and you'll also have 2 electives that you get to choose from the list. Okay? Level 4 is where you're going to peel back the onion layer and dig deeper and really get into building skills. I've been working 2 paths concurrently, trying to keep them both on the same course. Was that, wow? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it turned out that way a couple of weeks too. I'm going, what am I doing? But I'll tell you, I hit my biggest challenges in level 4 because those required more work. They weren't necessarily longer projects to deliver, but it was just a lot more thought that had to go into them and preparation. So level 4 is where they broke and they got out of sync a little bit. I was able to move faster in one and move on into level 5. And the other one, I'm still working on that last project in level 4, trying to figure out how I'm going to do that one. And then you finally get to level 5. Level 5 is really about demonstrating the expertise in the skill path that you have chosen. So you will be given, again, base projects to deliver, plus you'll have an elective to choose. And then consistently across all 10 paths, you will also have the Reflect on Your Path project, which is a 20/20 hindsight review. You're supposed to give a speech that tells something about what the experience has been through levels 1 through 5 and getting to the completion of your first path. Each path overall will contain a minimum of 15 prepared speeches across at least 14 projects. There are generally 10 required projects and 4 elective projects with each path. And upon completion of a path, the member will earn an education award for proficiency in that skill. So if you're doing dynamic leadership, you will be proficient in dynamic leadership once you complete all 5 levels. Okay? So does that give you a better overview of pathways? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses in the audience. I have a question.
Trish, now, obviously in the traditional one, you've got the 2 paths, you've got leadership and then you have speeches. All right. In pathways, is the leadership incorporated in the paths?
The question from the audience was, is leadership, well, in traditional we have communication and leadership tracks. In Pathways, is it,
Incorporated.
are they incorporated together? Thank you, I had a moment. Okay, are they incorporated together? And for the most part, that is true. If you look at the core competencies, it's one of the handouts again we have in the other room. It's that high level page that says these are the 5 core skills in Toastmasters, these are the paths, and these are how those core skills align. You'll see that some paths focus more on leadership than other paths. And some, like the presentation mastery, is almost all communication. So you will see sometimes more lean one way than the other, but for the most part, they are incorporated. All right, I'll just take 1 or 2 last questions.
So why is it there's absolutely no credit for meeting roles and learning the meeting roles? Because it's all speech focused.
The question was, why is there no credit for meeting roles? There are only 3 roles that are required in Pathways. You must be a speech evaluator. You accomplish that with the level 1 project of evaluation and feedback. The topics master role, which you receive credit for when you do the active listening, either as a required part of your path or as an elective, and then being a Toastmaster. Right now, I can't find an alignment for which project the Toastmaster role fulfills. I've posed I was told challenging question to my education contact at World Headquarters, and they are researching that, and I'm waiting for an answer now. So those are the only 3 that are required. I'm going to say it this way, and you can just beat me up in the parking lot afterwards. I hear a lot of questions, and I read them on the Pathways discussion forums and stuff that are online. We don't have a competent leader manual. How do we get people to do meeting roles? All right. For those of you who know me and for those of you who don't, I'm just going to say it this way. I have never tried to answer a question that anyone has ever asked me in 20 years of Toastmasters without taking it back to Dr. Smedley's vision and what we have documented in mission, vision, and policy. All right? Here's the thing. We got along fine for a lot of years without a competent leader manual. We didn't have a competent leader manual until 2006. And when it was introduced, the acceptance rate and general feeling about the competent leader manual was more strongly negative than what we're hearing about Pathways. Okay? That manual required some significant work its first year out. And a lot of people put it aside and refused to work with it. Now you want it. So let me answer it this way. I have no issue with not having a competent leader manual because every member I orient to one of my clubs, we flip the application over and we go through the Toastmasters promise. And one of those promises is that you will fulfill your meeting roles to the best of your ability. And that means active participation in your Toastmaster meetings. So every member has already made a promise to be actively involved in conducting those meetings, and they do that by fulfilling meeting roles. And if you are working with your members and you know what skills they're trying to master, you will be able to recommend the right meeting roles for the right reason, and that is how you will get buy-in to fulfill them. If there's one thing I'm learning moving into Pathways, it's how much is already being anchored by things that we've had for years. The Toastmasters promise, which also includes, by the way, that you will give evaluations. I had a member that said, I'm not doing evaluations. And I said, well, you promised that you would, and it's right here, this bullet. Okay? So if you're having trouble with that, I'll help you. But you are going to learn to give evaluations, okay? They were being snarky. I got snarky back. Shame on me. If Nancy, if you're out there, I'm sorry. Okay? But
I'm going to keep lecturing about that.
one of my proteges is here who got that lecture one day. All right.
Nancy said she forgives
Oh, thank you. All right, so my point is this. I taught a leadership seminar not too long ago for another district, and I said everything that we need to know about helping members and being, making sure that they achieve their goals is in either the promise, the promise, the Constitution, or the educational program. It's all there. And the more familiar and the more grounded you get in those documents, the better you'll be able to coach your members. And I'm going to stop there because he's going to pull me off. All right, Jon.
All right. Focus here. We are done round one. We'll now just convert over to round two. So if you're here in the room and you want to transition over, there's one-on-one conversations going on, hands-on. You look at your laptop. Head over to that room right now. And if you're in virtual, hopefully you've been sending your questions. I know our everyone chat has been busy, but if you just put, let's start every question that you put in there with question. That will very clearly identify where the questions are, and we'll start capturing those and answering those. You'll get a direct message, or they will be flagging our person here to then tell Trish. So we'll take just 1 minute. I'm going to bring Trish back up, and we're going to go through more just Q&A back and forth.
Okay.
And Jon, if you would please just clarify for our online audience that when I asked them to not use everyone for just chatting, I didn't mean I shouldn't ask questions.
So a clarification from one of our moderators. Apparently she said to stop chatting. She only meant just a lot of peripheral chats, but to please ask questions and please use chat. So people in this room are transitioning, and we will get Trish back up. We did get some feedback that it's hard to hear, so I don't think you need to scrouch like I am, but
Oh, good. Okay. You're stronger than I was.
But if we can get a little more, it's going to be awkward, but a little more audio, I think will help. All right, so we are heading into portion 2. Just a reminder, this information will be emailed after to registered people, and we will have a recording of this out to the people, to you all. Back to Trish.
Okay. Thanks, Jon.
Thank you.
Yay!
And you can lower it about 2 inches.
Yeah. Let's see if I can do that without.
Oh, that's very good.
Uh-huh. Okay, they are micing me with a second mic. Give me just a moment. Okay, for those of you who are in the, I don't know. Does it? Well, I still have a list that I'm working from.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll take this.
All right. For those of you who are in the virtual session, can you hear me better now?
Okay, so here we are.
Please let our moderators know. Okay. All right, are we ready to continue? That's your call.
Are you using the portal right now?
I am going to get into, okay.
So you do need to take over. I made you the host, but you'll just share your screen whenever you're ready.
Okay, I lost my Zoom window. Just a second. There we go.
Hi, Jean.
Got it. Doing a great job. Okay, we're going to pick it up again with some more Q&A.
Or you can look over my shoulder.
Okay. Am I still in the window? No, I'm sharing my screen now.
So,
I don't need to be in
you're
the
at
window.
home though, your video is on, so those remotely are
Yeah.
seeing you that way.
Okay, I'm just going to give myself a longer leash here then.
I was trying to get it to
All right.
log in.
So if you move away from your gut camera.
Yeah, I won't do that. I won't drive Dawn crazy. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our next question then. The question was, can you provide a detailed step-by-step guide to log information such as speeches, roles performed, etc., into Pathways online? Okay. The straightforward answer is no, because Pathways navigation is as varied as there are users. I can provide you a step-by-step, but that may not be the step-by-step that you prefer to work with. Okay? What I like to do is just get online with a mentor or get online with the person and try to help them identify what's the easiest way for them to navigate. Yes?
Jennifer, I was telling her, I gave her the.
I can't see the questions.
Okay, and I know you've got some, he's just asking if you would please cover how the member enters in their Pathways profile the date and role of last month.
Okay, that goes along with that then.
I'm sure that's in there.
All right, so I'm going to show you the way I do it, but understand there's plenty of routes to get there. I'm just going to try to show you what I think is the most expeditious route. Okay? So I am going out to Toastmasters International. I am going to log in. And hopefully I haven't fat-fingered anything.
Trish, can you hit record down at your Zoom?
Okay, I am recording on this computer. Okay. And then I'm going to go to Pathways, go to Basecamp. Everybody with me so far? All right. There we go. All right, so here's the thing. I have to log in as a member. If I'm a dual member, it doesn't matter which club I log in. My Pathways content is the same for me. So fastest route is to just accept whatever club's there and move on in as a member. The only time the choice of club matters is when I'm a Basecamp manager or if I'm getting ready to submit a level approval. That's the only time it matters. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and log in as a member. And this is your landing page. Oh, great. I'm not going to launch content, so. All right. I can go a couple of different ways. I can use blue tiles, okay? Or I can, for storage and giving feedback and logging meeting roles, for me, the fastest way is to go to my universal profile. On my universal profile is where it will display the roles that I record. But you actually record them through my account, and it tells you that right at the top of the page. So when I go to my account, then now, here I am, and I can enter any date that I want for any role. It will only store one date per role, so whether you ever update it, it's up to you. Okay? Once I edit it and click Save, I'm done updating meeting roles, and they will be displayed then on my universal profile. Okay?
Okay, we got somebody asking if you can share.
Are you sharing your screen?
Is it shared?
But you need to share your screen so remotely they can.
I thought I had.
Yeah, they can click at the top section bar at the top of their screen. Oh, yeah,
Are we good?
I got it.
Okay, so the reason I like to go to Universal Profile is I can look really quick to see if I entered a meeting role, okay? And if I haven't, just go out to my account, enter it really quick, save it, and come right back to the Universal Profile again. From Universal Profile, it's the easiest way to get to ePortfolio and to the feedback mechanism or feedback capability. So let's go to ePortfolio first because this is always a big question, okay? You can see your badges, but there's nothing to edit there. In Documents is where you have your online storage. You have, by default, these folders. You cannot add any new folders. You cannot modify these folders. It's a very limited functionality in my opinion. That's my opinion, okay? But if you go into level 1, you're going to see that I've been uploading all my evaluations, my speech drafts, my certificates for completion, but that is my responsibility to upload those, okay? Nothing happens automatically in ePortfolio, and nothing is required to be loaded in ePortfolio for any kind of verification. ePortfolio is private to your user account. No one can see it but you. No Basecamp manager can see it. No other member can see it. So the expectation that we would upload things and other people could see them to verify work is not true. Let me burst that myth right now, okay? Not true. And whether or not you choose to upload into ePortfolio is a personal decision, okay? All right. Any other questions about ePortfolio? Okay, let's go over to feedback now. Feedback, there's 3 ways I can do this. I can request feedback, I can respond to a feedback request, or I could provide feedback and also award a badge if I want to another member. This is where logging in by club can make a difference because you will only have access to view people that are in that same club. So even though I'm a dual member in Showtime and Leaders Plus, when I'm logged in under Leaders Plus, I can only see my other Leaders Plus members. When I'm logged in as Showtime, I can only see my other Showtime members, okay? But I can see here any feedback that people have provided me, and I have to manually go look for it. There's nothing that comes via email that lets me know somebody has given me feedback. You have to check this periodically, okay? All right, if I got a feedback request from someone, silly me. If I got a feedback request from someone, this happened early on in Pathways. One of my fellow members in Leaders Plus sent me a request about their evaluation that night. And I wasn't that familiar yet with navigating Pathways, so I didn't see it right away. But they were asking me if I had any additional feedback for them because I was not their assigned CL evaluator that night. And so it was late, but I did give them some feedback at some point. So you do want to check this periodically to see what's out there. And if I want to give feedback to someone, then I have to do a search for the member. So here's hoping. Okay, now I'm doing this online and I didn't ask this member's permission to display before. So don't tell anybody, don't tell Ken that I displayed his profile, okay? And don't write any of Ken's information down. But if I have to pay attention here to what I'm doing. Okay, I choose Ken. I have to remember, somebody remind me in Leaders Plus to remember to ask Ken if it's okay if I share his profile. Okay, once I find Ken's profile, and you just saw how I did that, I just typed in Ken's name and I selected it from the pop-down list and I'm now on his profile. Now I can, notice it says I'm in Ken's profile right here at the top. The breadcrumb will always let you know where you're at. It also has Ken up here in the upper left-hand corner so that I know I'm not on my profile, I'm on Ken's profile. And if I want to give feedback, now I can click on the feedback button and I can share my feedback with Ken. Okay? Ken, thanks. I can do this for real because he did send me some. For sending over your project completion. I've never tried to type at this level, at this height. Can talk more at the next meeting. I don't need everyone to see this. I only need Ken to see that. But notice that I can also say to Ken and his managers, all right? If Ken has, I think this is really future functionality. Like if Ken's mentor is identified in Pathways, then it would go to Ken and his mentor. Okay, but right now I just need to send it to Ken. Okay, and I can post this. If I want to attach something, I can attach something. If I want to award a badge, I can click on the little badge icon and pick the badge, that I want to award. Okay, but all I have to do is click post, and boop, 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 off it goes. And now when Ken logs in, Ken will see the feedback that I just provided. Question?
If I provided a oral and written evaluation as the assigned evaluator for the speaker on the paper, do I just give them the paper or should I go back in and type it in? Is there a preference?
The question was if you're doing a paper evaluation in the meeting, the best way, in my opinion, is to simply hand that back to the speaker, just like we would have in the traditional version of our meetings. If you're doing an online editable form, then you have a choice. You could send it to them via email, okay? Or, and I have not tried this, but you may be able to use the attachment option here and send it back with other feedback then.
But the evaluator does not go in and answer it.
Evaluator doesn't have any access. Yeah. If you're my evaluator, Sandy, you cannot get access to my Basecamp. So there's nothing that you could do. You have to communicate with me in a traditional manner.
So if she's your evaluator, and you're going to get up and speak now, she doesn't have anything, so she's just going to blank piece of paper, and she just writes down what she wants, what she thinks.
No. I carry... Okay. Yeah, thank you. So we're at the meeting, I'm giving a speech, and my speech evaluator doesn't have the evaluation form. It's still my responsibility to bring the evaluation form, just like I had to bring my manual before. So I print off the speech evaluation form and I bring it to the meeting with me. I hand it to my evaluator and they complete it and give it back to me. I've got one of my clubs is pretty traditional and that's how they still prefer to do evaluations. But my other club is getting much more into the online mode. And so what they do, you've got two options, is they log into their Basecamp and they open the evaluation form, because remember, all the evaluation forms are out there and available to everyone. They open the evaluation form and complete it and email it from their device. Okay, that's one way. If you use Free Toast Host and your members are entering their project information when they're giving a speech, Free Toast Host now has a button that accesses the evaluation form for you. So that's another way if somebody doesn't want to take the time to log into their Pathways Basecamp. They can just launch it from the Free Toast Host agenda. Okay? Answer questions?
Is it then saved at Free Toast Host or do you need to use it?
No, I haven't used, okay, I shouldn't just say no. I haven't used the feature yet. It opens it in editable form. I'm thinking you still have to save it off and send it.
Right, well, and from Pathways, you have to actually download it before you you can't just open it, it has to be downloaded to your device.
Okay. The other comment being made was when you open it from Basecamp, you need to download it then and complete it locally. You don't have to stay logged into Basecamp. Just download it, complete it locally, and then you can send it off. Question?
Well, I'm really new. I've been a Toastmaster for absolutely eons, and I left shortly, came back, and I got introduced to Pathways.
Yep. Okay. Let me point out tutorials and resources right inside. Okay, where do I find out about evaluations and evaluation forms? Tutorials and resources have plenty of help for you out there. And if you go back to home, you can use, yeah, I know, I should have disabled it. Okay, you can click on the blue tile for speech evaluations, and it takes you right to the page where they are all listed alphabetically by project, and you can just search through and find the one for your speaker that night, and launch it, download it, and complete the evaluation. Okay, and what I would suggest that you do then is step over into the other room before you leave, and someone will step you through it step by step. Okay?
This isn't a technical question, but I'm moving and I need to repay my dues, and I'm pretty new. How does it work? If I'm at my current club, do my dues cover if I go to a different club?
Okay, the question was, I'm a member, when I renew, if I move after that, what happens to my dues? Okay, when you get to the new club that you want to land in, you need to fill out an application again for that club and indicate transfer. That application will get submitted. They will transfer the balance of your dues payment to the new club to carry you through the dues period. Okay? You don't have to do anything in Pathways. It's going to move with you automatically. All you have to do is log back in. Once it gets processed, you'll pick the different club from your pull down. Old club won't be an option for you anymore, but this is why your content in Basecamp is not club dependent. So it can flex and go with you to any club.
Okay, good.
Okay? All right. The next question on our list. Can I bypass the management track or focus when my main goal is to improve my public speaking? Yes. Okay. Could I ask you to grab my binder out of the black bag? Marilyn, thank you very much while I explain this answer. Oh, okay. Thank you, Cynthia. Okay. There is a resource that we have on the table in the other room that looks like this. Okay? There's also, they can't see me anymore because I'm screen sharing, okay? But it's called Pathways, Cores, and Competencies, okay? And you'll get the link for the virtual folks. You'll get the link when we send that all out. This Pathways, well, here. It's amazing what happens when you are sharing paths and core competencies. I'll get used to this online management stuff. Okay? This is the Pathways, Paths, and Core Competencies. This is where it lists the 5 core skills that now have been incorporated across all learning paths, and it also lists each of the current 10 paths as we know them today. If you want to avoid management, then avoid the interpersonal communication, avoid the strategic leadership and management. So where you see 3s and 4s, probably stay away from those. The one that is most focused on just public speaking is presentation mastery, and you'll see right here, presentation mastery only includes 2 of the competencies. The public speaking aspect and the confidence building aspect. Okay?
If you just started and you chose it, can you change?
Yes. The question is, if I've chosen my path and I don't like my path, can I exchange it? You have 30 days to exchange your path. So it's important when you get your path that you go poking around in it and decide this path really is for you. If you decide you want to exchange your path, you can call World Headquarters or send them an email, and they will change your path, but you'll have to tell them what path you want to change to. If you have done your icebreaker project or so forth, then you won't lose that. If you ever reactivate that path, then any project work that you have completed in that previous path will still be there for you.
Can you apply the icebreaker to your
I'm going to check that one before I answer it. Okay, I'm being recorded. Okay. Okay, the question was, if I change paths, can my icebreaker credit be transitioned to my new path? Technically, the answer is no. There, I've covered my bases, okay? Technically, the answer is no, because no work ever transfers from path to path, okay? Just like no traditional work transfers into pathways. But if you gave the same icebreaker speech again, who would know? No one knows. So just give the same icebreaker speech over, get it out of the way. That would be my easy answer.
So if it hasn't been 30, I guess I'm confused. So if it hasn't been, if it's been over 30 days, you haven't done much in the current pathway, and you are paying your dues for a new year, can you just start over?
But there'll be a $20 cost to get a new path. The question was, if I don't make the 30-day window, then what happens? I can keep that path, and that's what I would recommend that you do. Just go ahead and keep that path and set it aside, and then order a new path. And you don't have to take the assessment again. You can skip the assessment and go right to the path that you want to pick, and there will be a $20 cost for an additional path. Okay, every additional path past your first one is $20. Okay, I have 5 active paths in my transcript right now. So 2 of them I got for free because I was a dual member when we deployed, and the other 3 I paid for. Okay?
Since we're talking money.
Yeah.
Person was a member when we deployed.
Yep.
They did not take their assessment immediately. They are taking it now. But this is their free pathway. During the assessment process, they're being asked to pay for it. Should they just directly contact World Headquarters and say, whoa?
If they're okay, the question was, at the time of deployment, someone took the assessment, but they did not take the assessment, but end result is they didn't pick a path. Okay, now they're being asked to pay for it. Yes, they should call Toastmasters International because you will always get your first path for free. Okay? All right. So I think I answered the management question. Okay? So I'm moving on. How do I track what I have completed, or how can I assess what I have completed? Okay? Going back into Basecamp. Okay, there's another question that I remember getting, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it now. Someone said, I get very confused when I'm presented here, and I don't know where to click to find my curriculum. Go to the bottom of the screen, and this little burgundy box right here will list your curriculum, and if it's on this list, you can simply click Open Curriculum, and you're there. If it's not on the list, then you need to go into your educational transcript and pick the curriculum that you want. Okay? I love this. All right, so. Right. You can go here on the blue tile, or you can go here. I'm telling you, I hardly ever do anything with the blue tiles, ever. I work out of this little burgundy box in the corner, and that's the shortcut to everything, in my opinion. That's my opinion, okay? You may like to navigate in a different manner, but I like doing it here. So you can click on this and take you to the full list of your thing, or you can simply click on Open Curriculum. So I'm going to take you to my presentation mastery. This is the one where I am working in level 5 right now. This is the curriculum, curriculum progress dashboard. Okay, and on this, I can go and see any detail in any of my levels. It will drop me to the last level I was looking at, okay, which happens to be level 2. But let me show you level 5. Okay, normally this is where I would be because I would be launching things, and this is where I would have landed. All right, so I can go ahead and launch my curriculum from here. I can select my electives that I need to do from here. I can, once I do these, then the Reflect on My Path project will become available to me. Now let me just pause for a moment. There are two what they call foundational projects. One is Icebreaker. Until you complete the Icebreaker project, you can't see anything else in level 1. It's because they require that you do the Icebreaker first. And in level 5, the other one is the Reflect on Your Path, which is another foundational project, and you cannot do it until you have completed all the prerequisites. So that is why Reflect on Your Path does not have a launch button. It will have an activate button as soon as I complete my electives, because I've already completed my required project. Okay? All right, so this is the dashboard. This tells you that I'm 85% complete with this path. Okay. And if I go back into any level, you'll see that there's a smaller one right here that tells me that level is 100% complete. If I go back to level 5, you'll see that it's only 25% complete. Okay? So if you're looking for just a high-level status really quick, that's the easy way to find it. All right? Now, let me show you something different. Somebody remind me to disable my pop-up blockers before I log off. All right, I'm going to go into one that I have not activated. See, it drops me into level 1 because I haven't done any work in this path yet. This is what a brand new member sees when they go into their level 1 as an activate button. You need to activate this project to be able to open the core or the content module. And once you complete your Icebreaker project, then the other two projects will have the same activate button and they'll be available to you. Okay? Let me show you something else then. Let me come back to that. Okay? I don't want to confuse matters here. All right. Here's another one. This is what it looks like after I activate and complete the Icebreaker project. And you can see I have the evaluation and feedback and the research and presenting available to me to activate.
Do you have to do it in that order, the evaluation, feedback, or the research?
No.
You could do the second one.
The question is, do I have to do the other two in order? The answer is no. You must do the foundational project first, which is the Icebreaker, and then you are free to do the other projects in any order that you want. Within that level. Always within a level. Okay? All right. Okay, let me answer your question first.
Sometimes you get into a situation where, a part where you have electives.
Yes.
Electives. And there's maybe 10 electives there, and you're supposed to do 2.
Yep.
Can you do 3 or 4 if you want to?
Okay, the question was, I'm only required to do 2 electives for a particular project. And, well, let me...
Will the computer let you do those or something?
The question was, if I'm only required to do, say, 2 electives for my project, can I do more? The answer is yes. You can do all of them if you want to, but there's no advantage to doing it. You are just using... No. Hold on. Here's the thing. It's a personal decision based on how fast you're trying to get to level 5. Okay? Because as you can continue to move forward through your path, or you can slow down by completing more electives. Yes, you will learn anytime you complete elective, but some of those electives are required for other paths. So are you only going to do 1 path in your Toastmasters life, or are you going to do all 10 paths? You know, I'm going to do all 10. That's what I'm saying. It's a personal choice, but there's no advantage. You cannot transfer that credit over. So the High Performance Leadership Project is a really good example. It's a level 5 elective, and it is required in, I think, 3 paths. So I was going to do it in this path because I wanted to experience the High Performance Leadership Project. The only thing is that if I do it now, I have to redo it again when I get to the other path that's going to require it. So do I want to do 2 high-performance leadership projects? I don't know, because some of these projects are getting pretty challenging. So I'm going to just wait and do the high-performance leadership project when I have to do it. Okay, now I've got all hands jumping up. Okay, hold on.
Speaking of doing multiple paths, could you please explain how you reach distinguished in pathways?
Hold that question. Okay. But yes, I will explain how you get to distinguished. All right.
Going back to electives, suppose I finish one path, okay? But can I go back and redo some more electives, just because I want to?
If you are working through your path, you can always go backwards, yes. So you can go back and repeat more electives if you want to. It goes back to my previous answer. You can do as many electives as you want to, but time-wise, if you're trying to get through your path, to me, it's slowing you down. Okay, now.
That was my question.
Okay. All right, so now, DTM. Okay. Here's the side-by-side DTM, traditional and pathways. We're going to talk about what's over here on the right. Oh, no, I'm on DCP. Sorry. Oh, they've updated. Okay, this is Distinguished Toastmaster, and it's only 4 pathways. You must complete 2 full paths. Okay? That's why I was cranking on 2 paths in simultaneously, because I had a target for my DTM. No, I'm not answering that in a virtual environment on a microphone. Okay, so you have to complete 2 paths. You're going to have to serve as a club officer for 12 months, okay? Including participating in club officer training. You're going to need to complete a service as a club mentor or coach, complete service by conducting a Speechcraft or youth leadership program, serve as a district officer for 1 year, and complete the DTM project. So let me clarify the pathways piece of this. The 2 full paths are required. Okay? Then you have a DTM project. And here's how this works. You must complete 1 path, and you must be in at least level 3 of a second path, at which point then you can contact World Headquarters and ask for your DTM project. They will ship it to you and load it, not ship it ship it to your base camp, sorry. I have to learn new language. Ship it to your base camp, and your DTM project will be there so that you can start looking through and plan your approach. Okay? Once you complete the 2 paths and your DTM project, then you will be awarded your Pathways DTM. Okay? Any questions about that? Are you booting me off again? Oh, okay. 2 questions. Don?
So the DTM project is not the high performance leadership?
It is not the high performance leadership project.
Can you tell us how they differ?
It is a much more complex project than a high performance leadership project.
High performance leadership project might be being the contest chair for the district conference, but the DTM project is you have to build a rocket ship to go to Mars.
Yes.
Kinda. Okay. The question was how much more complex. The example was I could lead the district conference as a committee chair to do my high performance leadership. Then what would I do for my DTM? Would I have to build a rocket ship and go to Mars? You don't have to go quite that far with it, but it is a more complex, and it also has a wider parameter in which you can operate in.
See the outline for that, or can you
Yes. Yes.
I'm just saying, I like to look at the table of contents.
I understand. And I want to can I do one more question?
2 minutes?
2 minutes. Okay. I'll answer more about the DTM offline, but I want to do this really quick because this is another question that I get. I'm looking at what a brand new member basically would be looking at, okay? But notice that I can go to level 2 I can go to level 3. I can go to level 4, okay? And the view details of those electives is available to me, okay? Don't come to me anymore and say, I can't look ahead to see what I have to do, because I just showed you how to look ahead. Now, what do you do with that information? You go to tutorials and resources, and you go to project descriptions, and I go to English to filter out all the other ones. And here, they're all listed by project name, alphabetical, top to bottom, left to right, and this is where you can go in and read the project descriptions, okay? You can also go to evaluation resources, and again, I filter, and look for the evaluation form for the projects, okay, and see what your evaluators are going to be looking for. So for me, I'm going to just do one last thing, and then they're pulling me off the stage. When I was planning my 2 concurrent paths, I went to training details. I got this big long list of everything that would be required in my path. Notice that all the electives are also listed, and it tells me how many I have to choose. I printed this one sheet out, and I put it down on the desk in front of me, and I went into project descriptions and evaluations, and I took a look at all of that, and then I started highlighting what I was going to do to complete that entire path. And I knew exactly what I had ahead of me. I knew where the big challenges were going to be that were going to take additional prep time. So there have been no surprises for me in level 3, level 4, level 5, other than bumping into a few hiccups that I didn't find in the project description that are just a little more challenging for me personally than what I was expecting, okay? So having said that, I think I have pretty much covered all the questions or come close enough to the questions that you should be able to make better progress. And you can always email pathways@aztoastmasters.org and ask for more help. That reaches the support team led by me, and we will answer your questions generally within 48 hours, mostly within 24, but I'm going to say 48 to cover my tushy. All right? For those of you who are online, thank you again for coming and attending this session. And for those of you who are here in person, I'm hoping that this has been a good learning experience for both the virtual and the in-person attendees. Thank you so much for your time today, and drive safe out there. Bye-bye. John?
I guess you can't see me anymore, but this is John again. So here I am. And I just want to close out reiterating what Trish said. A big thank you to Trish, also her team of ambassadors, as well as Don, who you didn't see because he's always behind the camera. He videotaped everything, and this will be emailed out in a follow-up email. And I also want to thank our tech team helping to set things up. We had Mary Bogdanoff, Jason Petsky, and other Zuni and Saguaro assistants. So I want to thank all of those people with all of the support today. And not to forget, thank you for attending. And please take the information you've gathered today, bring it back to your clubs. We want you to be able to share that with others and help them learn what you've learned today. And that helps you learn it better by teaching it to others. And lastly, I want to finish off with the vision. Toastmasters International empowers people to achieve their full potential and realize their dreams. Through our members' clubs, people throughout the world can improve their communication and leadership skills and find the courage to change. And I believe that you can find the courage to change and adopt all that Pathways has to offer and realize your dreams and your full potential. So please take all this. We will be sending out a follow-up email with all the information, the video, the resources, and I really look forward to continuing to engage with Pathways. That is our presentation. Thank you for being here today.